Yes, welcome back to Talking Turf with me and Gary. As always, guys and girls and whatever, you've got 60 seconds to grab a cuppa or grab a drink, and we'll see you through the next hour. Cheers. Off in that Ruben advert. Yes, welcome back to Talking Turf. How are we doing, Gary?
Good.
Excellent. Yes, so we'll quickly show that. As we strive to grow our podcast, you can help us with that. Send us the stars for the price of a Ferrero bar. Watch us grow with your help. But also, just to like and share this now. Get us on your timelines. Get people watching. Got loads to talk about tonight. Obviously, we'll just fast forward from 2 weeks ago, them results, because it didn't go very well for either of our teams, Gary. But me and you travelled to Bournemouth last night, and we bumped into somebody, didn't we, in the airport. I'll show everybody.
We did yesterday morning.
Yes, I'll show everybody the video. Believe this, but we're getting a new manager for Man United. Him and his mate, they were gents, weren't they?
Cracking bloke, he was good. Crack when he give it all the time of day, even though we're talking about Man U fans.
Aye, and but to be honest, like, he's a Bournemouth fan, isn't he?
Yeah, he said his son was going to the game, like, didn't he? His
son was going to the game. The Bournemouth through and through. They've still got that pictures up with Bournemouth in the stadium, haven't they, in the corner? Mm-hmm. Him and Eddie Howe, like, it's you can see why. And you know what? It's hard to understand why you would, like, leave that environment. They've obviously got family there. They've got, like, they support them because they said their kids had season tickets. It's
a lush place, isn't it?
Lush, absolutely beautiful. Like,
that was one of my favourite aways. That, like, for the city, like the town, the city, whatever it is, and like just everything around it. It was great, and the weather made it even better than that.
Oh, see me heat.
I thought you'd be right.
Gary.
Put
a fried an egg on that last night.
I thought you would have.
Shower, it was a little bit hot, and honestly, I was killing. But anyway, Mad Dog, you said to him straight away, didn't you? You were just straight up with him in your guns. Obviously, we're Man U fans. You tell Pope to chuck it quite a lot during Man United, did you or did you not? And what did you say?
And straight away when I like good observation again, that was one of the first things I said to him, because he'd been coming under like a load of criticism from like the fans. Like, they're not stupid. He says they see it, and he can see it. His kicking's not the best, and he says that was one of his first instructions. He said, I want you to stop kicking the ball. Any opportunity you get, pick it up, throw it, and be fast. And that's what they did. That's how Newcastle score like a lot of their goals, to that counter attack, isn't it? From A to B, and obviously it's worked.
Oh, weird.
But he was honest, like he was happy enough to share it, wasn't he? So I had a good crack with him.
I was saying to the kid, I don't know, obviously we didn't get a picture with him, but apparently he travels with him all the time. And the way the guy was speaking, he obviously has a lot to do with Newcastle as well. He must be there somewhere. And I was saying to him, because you were walking back with Mad Dog, I was saying to him, I don't even get why everybody wants to play from the back now. What happened to the good old-fashioned, like, goal kick, put it straight into their box, and then the danger's in their area, miles away from your area? And he said, I agree. He says, but, like, what it is, it's possession, it's stats. So they get the stats, you know, like, and I said, but what good's that if you get beat? He says, I know, but he says, it's just the way that the game's gone. He says, but I agree with you. You know, like, box.
Because the way they break everything down is like, it's percentages, isn't it? So the way they look at it, like you say in there, the stats, like you say, stats doesn't mean output. The way they look at it, stats means everything. It's like the more that you've got the ball, the higher percentage the chance is you're gonna win. Not always, but 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10, you should be winning the game when you've got more. And that doesn't always go that way, but that's
no, it doesn't. I mean, we're a prime example of that, Gary, under Louis van Gaal. We absolutely dominated games because we just kept the ball. But more times than enough, we got beat 1-0.
Aye. It was like side to side. It was like the crowd football, wasn't it?
Aye. It was that bad. Like, pass it back, the keeper passed it back in the car park. That's how bad it was at Man United. Just to keep the ball retention. And I don't know, like that old school, you know, the 4-4-2. That's like, that's what's missing, I think, you know, like, this is getting boring new. I think it's becoming predictable now which way the game.
And I know Bournemouth went down to 10 men, but that's what we went to yesterday, didn't we? Because obviously he put 2 strikers on, didn't he, and started putting balls up there.
It worked. We scored. Rasmus scored. Like, never been done this season. Right. Anyway, enough about that. Let's move on. So the Premier League began on Tuesday this week because obviously you had the FA Cup at the weekend, and it started off at the City ground. The Etihad. Sorry. Is your chair squeaky?
I think the dog's come through with its toy.
Man City 2, Gary. Aston Villa 1. In a game that Gary can still hear us, by the way, because he's got his headphones in. In a game that was crucial, really, for the Champions League spot. Silva scores for City. Marcus Rashford then scores a penalty for Aston Villa. And in the 94th minute, 4 minutes of added time, Nunez scores for City. Massive 3 points for them, that.
Did they deserve it? I mean, Villa definitely had their chances like before they got that goal, and they huffed and puffed, but they couldn't score. They'd done everything but score. Rashford had a decent game, I thought. But he's done what he'd done the whole time. Like he changes it up, doesn't he? He's trying to keep everyone happy. That Emery, isn't he? So he does rotate it a lot. So, but in my opinion, they needed to win that game as much as City. I thought they should have maybe just left him on and brought Watkins on rather than switching the whole front line. But good win for City, and then it's in their hands now, isn't it?
It is. City had 62% possession. Villa had 38. City had double of the shots of Villa and double shots on target. But you kind of expect that to be it when you get there. They are going to retain the ball very well. That's what they can do. They've probably been in seeing games or even scoring sometimes, City. But that is a massive 3 points for them. It puts them on 61 in 4th place. Nottingham Forest are now on 60, but they've obviously got a game in hand over everybody. So then they can jump back into 3rd. Nottingham Forest, with their game in hand, play, I think it's Brentford. I think it's Brentford on Thursday this week, in the Europa League week. They win that, they're going back into 3rd place. Newcastle on 62, City on... So it could potentially be Forest 63, Newcastle 62, City 61, Chelsea 60, and Villa on 57. Like, in a league that's been fairly crap for us and not predictable, but really one way, because obviously City have been off it. So Liverpool's stormed away and they've won the league. That's the only thing I will say about them. And they've won the league with 4 games left to play. That Champions League fight is going to be very interesting to the last game.
There's a lot to play for. Obviously, when we were speaking to Tyndall, obviously he turned. I mean, he doesn't think they're going to get top four, like, does he? So
No, he says Chelsea will put them out, didn't
no, he was optimistic. He obviously he knew that it's in Newcastle's hands because obviously the player Chelsea, but he did point out that the Chelsea game's massive, didn't he?
Massive.
But he says the players fancy themselves, and they've got every right. Like they've been playing well. You know what I mean? They can mix it with like the big boys, so they should be confident.
The team I didn't mention there, Gary, was Arsenal, who are sitting on 67 points, potentially 7 points clear of sixth place. But they played on the Wednesday night. They hosted Crystal Palace, and Hugo opened the scoring for them. Eze equalised for Palace. Trossard scores for Arsenal, and then Mateta, who we'll give a special mention to, he equalises for Crystal Palace. You think Arsenal's got enough there to get Champions League, or do you think they could flop?
No, I think they've got to prioritise the PSG game now, haven't they? Like that's what they're going to be looking to do because they're good enough to win it. I think Arsenal, I thought they were excellent against
Champions League.
I think they're good enough. I think it's very even between the four teams left: Inter, Arsenal,
Barcelona,
Barca, and PSG. I mean, PSG, I was impressed with them against City and all, but I think it's anyone's that. It's just what turns up on the day.
There isn't a team in there, although I'm really, really impressed with PSG. And I tell you what's fantastic is that they're getting rid of Mbappe. He's gone to Real Madrid. They've flopped, so to speak, and they are prospering. Like they look like a team for the first time in years, really. Because obviously they're Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe at one point, and they are. And then obviously Mbappe is ruling the show to the point where he's dictating who they should play, etc. They get rid of that, right? And all of a sudden they become a team, and you're thinking, I love that, mate. I love the fact that people are doing, like, teams are doing that. It's showing you that you don't need superstars. What you need is players that will leave everything on the pitch for you. You know what I mean?
Well, and runners, isn't it? It's that we spoke about it, didn't we? We said like when we were saying, we were like, "Oh, would you have Rashford back?" And we were like, "Wait, no," because he's like another prime example. Like he thinks he can work around on the pitch. You can see he's got a Villa, and he hasn't been allowed to do that. It's clear as day. He's been told he has to run. Either that, or Emery, he doesn't trust him to play on that left-hand side. Nearly every time I've seen him play is through the middle because I don't think he trusts him to get up and done. And that's why, like what you're saying there, that's the prime example. And Mbappe is the same. You're losing runners. You're losing someone that's willing to run for you, whether you've got the ball or you haven't got the ball. He only wants to run when he's got it. But that's what we said, though, haven't we, Molly? That modern day football, you cannot have, especially in the Premier League, you can't have players that aren't willing to run anymore. You just can't. You need 11 men to run because it's that physical.
And if you look at Nottingham Forest, that's why they're doing so well. I believe. I think now they just want the season to end. They're in the stop because they've done so well, and they could end up falling at the final hurdle. I hope they didn't. I really honestly hope they didn't. But I just didn't think they've got. I didn't think the players that they've got expected to be in the position that they're in. So they've got to keep going. And I think fitness levels is new starting to show. Cracks is starting to show. I just hope that they can get through it. They're sitting in sixth.
I'm not sure what the sort of the run-ins is. And I know we've got to play Villa. Obviously, Newcastle's got to play Chelsea. I'm not too sure what the other.
I'll tell you quickly. So Forest have got Brentford, and then they've got Palace away. Brentford at home, Palace away. Leicester at home, West Ham away. The final game of the season, they're at home at Chelsea. That could be massive. That could be.
So Chelsea's got to play Forest and Newcastle.
Aye. Newcastle's fixtures are Brighton away this weekend, Then they've got Chelsea at home, Arsenal away, and Everton at home.
That's tough, that.
Aye.
That's tough, that.
City have Wolves away, Wolves at home, Southampton away. They've got a FA Cup final in between against Crystal Palace. In the final 2 games, they're at home to Bournemouth. In the final game of the season, they're away to Fulham. Chelsea have they've got the Conference League playoff this week, and then they've got Liverpool at home. Liverpool's obviously won the league. It could be like, well, they've got nothing else to play for, really, have they, apart from,
No.
Then they've got the second leg of the Conference League. Then, to end the Premier League, they've got Newcastle away, they've got us at home, and then they've got Forest away. I've just told you Forest. I'll tell you Villa's as well, because they're the only other team that's really in contention. Villa's got Fulham at home, Bournemouth away, Tottenham at home, and Man United away. So they'll definitely not get 3 points in the last game of the season. They're going to hope that.
We've got quite a bit of say in that, really, haven't we?
Aye, massive. But Wayne Latino in the league, I don't think they're interested.
Nah,
they're not interested. We'll move on, Gary, to Saturday's fixtures. Started with Chelsea. Chelsea hosted Everton at home, and they won 1-0 through a Nico Jackson goal in the first half. Stats show that it was a pretty even game, to be fair. I think Everton have getting a bit of stability with David Moyes coming in, and he's kind of like just got them on a level playing field there now. They've got a new stadium to come next season. Hopefully they can have a good summer, because you want Everton. They're a long time Premier League club, so you want them in the division. And to be fair, it's a great away. I don't know.
I think it was the right thing for them to do, wasn't it, to bring them in, because they were in a poor position, and like that would have been bad for them, especially getting a new stadium, but then being in the Championship. After already getting the deductions and that, weren't they?
Aye. They looked absolutely dead and buried at one point, mate. They didn't look. I mean, the fans were waiting for them in the railway station, and like,
they were getting sick.
Grief. That's how bad it got. Yeah, no, I agree with that, by the way. But sometimes
did you see that about from yesterday when Liverpool won the league, and apparently the Everton fan had been dishing flares out, but they were all blue. So when you see the smoke coming out from Anfield, it's blue. That is absolutely quality.
So they covered the thingies with red. Unbelievable. Absolutely.
And so Anfield turned out to be blue. It was brilliant.
Brilliant. Can you imagine though being it, like we won the league. Get it off, get the flag. Blue?
What's it?
Put it on. And then the guy turned down. Blue? Oh, that is class. So Chelsea 1-0, they keep in the Champions League race. Moving on, Brighton 3, West Ham 2. Ayari scores for Brighton. Kudus equalises for West Ham. West Ham take the lead in the 83rd minute through Souček. They think they've won it. It's game hour. But no, not at Brighton. Never at Brighton. They're the kings of last-minute goals at their stadium. Mitoma scores, makes it 2s each. And in the 92nd minute, Baliba finishes it off 3-2 to Brighton. Good game, it sounds like. Looks like. And a good win for Brighton, mate.
Aye. Meant, like you say, I mean, what West Ham could have done with that them points, to be honest. Because I mean, like, they're not getting done because obviously Ipswich got relegated. But I mean, they've had a poor season. Because I mean, I thought after the season they had last year, and then they added another few. You're thinking that they were going to kick on again, weren't you?
Aye.
West Ham, you like. They were playing some good football last season, and then you're thinking, like a couple of good signings if they can get a couple in, and then I don't know, they fell off worse than us.
West Ham, Man United, Spurs, Everton, all in the like bottom half. It's mental, but that's why it's the best league in the world, mate. Great win for Brighton because they're still in the hunt for the Conference League. 6 points off Villa at the minute, so it keeps it interested for them at least. Moving on to St James's Park. Newcastle hosted Ipswich. It wasn't helped by Johnson getting sent off in the 37th minute. The penalty for Isak in 4 minutes of stoppage time in the first half kind of put them down and buried, you know what I mean? That was it. That was the end of the game, really. You know, like you get somebody sent off, you hang on, you think you're getting a half time, and then literally 49 minutes played in the first half, and they get a penalty in the score. The team tax changed, the morale's totally gone. Newcastle.
It's a poor time to concede, isn't it?
Aye. Newcastle prey on that, mate. Dan Burn scores on 56 minutes, and then Osula scores in the 80th minute. For me, this Osula, I would have been playing him a hell of a lot more, because they're not going to keep Wilson next year, are they? But they're going to keep that younging. So you'd think that would give him minutes, because why would you give Wilson minutes? And now you need to sell him. You know, like, so you need to get, you do need to put him out there. But is it not more important for this youngin? Because I like him. He's got a bit of grit and determination. He gets involved and he wants to play football. You can see that he's there.
He looks like a powerful kid, like, doesn't he?
He does. But a convincing win for Newcastle, mate. 3-0. Keeps them third.
Aye. Obviously, the Ipswich strike, obviously, he's been linked with both, like Newcastle and Man United. Be interested to see what the Toon fans think of that.
Aye.
Like, in the comments, if they want the... I mean, I would quite happily have him, but I mean, I think we need an out-and-out striker, not somebody that's another prodigy, like a hopeful. We need someone that's putting goals in now. That's what we need. Not...
He come to Man United and he'll get straight in. He hasn't got any competition. He gets to Newcastle and you've got to push Isak out. He's not going to play two strikers, is he? He plays with the system that he plays with. He isn't then going to change it. So he's got to think of game time and stuff. I think he has been a great player for Ipswich. And like I've just said about Ozula, I think he puts his cell about and he gives it to the defenders. He winds them up, he pushes them. He's a proper old school number 9. I'd like to see him come, to be honest, but I think we also need a prolific striker as well.
Be interesting to see what happens.
It will. Moving on. Southampton 1, Fulham 2. Southampton thought they'd held out for a point here. I remember this because Warren Melvin had picked Fulham on the last man standing.
And I thought it was he.
He scores in the So Stevens scores for Southampton. They got in at half-time, 1-0 up. Emile Smith-Rowe equalised in the 72nd minute for Fulham. And then Sessegnon in the 92nd minute scores and breaks Southampton's hearts. 2-1 to Fulham, keeping them also in the race for the Conference League.
All right. Gallen there, he's seen cracking player that the lap. Yes, he looks like a good player. Apparently, he's got a 30 million release clause since they got relegated as well. So, in this day and age, for it's not that bad. It's probably worth a risk that than a 30 million.
Aye.
Apparently, that's in his contract.
You pay 75 million for Highland, and it's definitely worth a 30 million risk. How many did he score? How many did the lab score? Do you know?
I'm not sure, mate. You'll have it in front of you there.
Let's have a look here. Delap. Career. 12 this season.
Not bad for a team that's getting relegated, is it?
2 assists, and he's had 10 yellow cards, which backs up my point that he likes to get involved, but he hasn't had any red cards, so he knows when to wind it in as well. Do you know what I mean? Because he does get proper involved. Obviously, he's a City prodigy, and he came through the City youth rank. Aye, and then he's gone out to Stoke, Preston Hull, and Ipswich. So he's only really played in the Championship up until this year, and then, because he didn't obviously play for City in the Premier League, but he's come to the Premiership in his first season. He scored 12 in a poor team.
That's not bad, that's good effort, that.
30 million is a steal, in my opinion.
There'll be a few sniffing around him, I think.
Definitely. The last game on Saturday, mate, was Wolves. Wolves hosted Leicester. Leicester, who have been absolutely piss poor. And I mean, really bad. There's no defending them. Ruud van Nistelrooy, I don't know what has gone on because at United, mate, he was unbeaten, wasn't he? See that back with the players and. I
mean, they were already a poor team, weren't they? I think You never know. You maybe he's already expected for them to go and do, but has Vardy played much? I don't think he has. Like, he's wanting to leave, isn't he? But he still wants to stay in the Premier League. I mean, I hope we're not getting for him. Like, Christ.
Yeah, he'll go to like Everton.
Think.
He's got or maybe he's one of the teams that come up. Leeds.
Maybe so.
Might be a good fit for him. Moving on. Wolves 3, Leicester 0. Kuna, the new Man United centre attacking midfielder, scores for Wolves. Larson then scores in the second half, and Gomez ends it with 3-0. Not a lot really to say about that, Gary. Apart from you expected that. Aye,
Definitely aye.
Sunday. Bournemouth 1, Man United 1. Another mistake by us, to be fair. We were playing from the back constantly. We got caught 3 or 4 times. Dogu, he's young. That's all you can say. He's young. Stands on the ball, gets pushed off it, expects a foul, doesn't get it, across it in. Semenyo beats 1, puts it in the bottom corner. That's 1-0. In a game that I thought we played all right in, but we just couldn't finish our chances, right? Second half kicks off. Evan Nielsen gets sent off. I've seen it back. It's a slip. It's not a sending off. I think there was a sending off before that on Garnacho.
1,000,000%. That one's more of a sending off.
That could have been given, but I think that's got to get rescinded. Somebody's shooting 2 now. That's the next door, probably. United are absolutely battering them. Mason Mount comes on and he's fantastic. He's driving. He's gone forward. Yeah. That's what we're looking for. And eventually, a shot's took by Ugarte and Højlund gets his foot on it and gets his goal. Is that what he needs? Is this going to help him on? I hope it does. But apart from that, Gary, again, he was poor.
It's definitely what he needs. But you're right. I don't think it is going to help him. It's not just that. I mean, he scored the goal, but there's once or twice when he gets the ball and like you see, like he's 1-on-1 or 2-on-1, and there was a time when he just ran the ball straight onto the byline. You're thinking to yourself, there's 2 of the players coming towards him. You think just like try and knock it through them and have a go, but he doesn't. He keeps running and he puts himself into the corner where he's got nowhere to go. So they just close him down, take the ball off him, and just leave him, and he's hanging his hands up. And you think, wait, get into the middle of the pitch where there's more space.
Aye.
Like have a go. You're a big lad.
His runs is poor as well, Gary. Like
very poor, very poor. He doesn't protect the ball well enough. Even when he's got his back to goal, the players know what he's going to do. So the defenders actually come around them and nick it half of the time because they know that he's going to get it back in. They just stick with the way he gets back and they take the ball off him. It's very poor. Like, but surely someone's saying this to them. Like, it's crazy, man.
That young'un comes on, and you can tell he's been a striker his whole life. He was making the moves. He was strong on the ball and also pushing them off, and like getting it. So if we can bring a striker in with a bit of experience, I think that young'un will actually do well with him. I think Rasmus, fortunately, I really want him to do well all season. He's cost us about £280 in bets because I put him on for a hat-trick every game, and the bookies must be laughing at me when they say, "Oh man, you spend the day." Get 10 off him. Easy 10.
We could do with Ronaldo just to put the ball in there, couldn't we?
Right, we've got to end on this. Unfortunately, I thought after 12 minutes when the news flash came up that Solanke scored, I thought, well, at least it's not going to be the day. But 4 minutes later, Diaz scores for Liverpool, 1 each. McAllister then scores. Gakpo then scores. It's 3-1 at half time to Liverpool. They're going to win the league. Mo Salah second half, 4-1. And then in the 69th minute, Udogie scores and confirms that the Premier League title is Liverpool's, the Premier League. Yeah, which means Liverpool's won 2 Premier Leagues.
Not 20. 2.
Yeah, 2. We've won 13. They have won 2. Congratulations, Liverpool. Nice. Well done. Keep the trophy nice and shiny because we're coming next season for it, right? Simple as that. Right. We'll flick through these messages, Gary, and then we'll hit the break.
Yeah.
Billy Noble says, evening, lads. Good evening, Billy.
Hello, Billy.
Geordie, tune for life. Gary, lean forward. That shirt's putting people off that tee. They didn't have the finances, but beautiful place to live. 8 degrees warmer than Newcastle. They didn't have the finances for what? For Eddie Howe.
I think he got them. We were speaking about that. We thought that he got them relegated, didn't he? And then he just left it rather than getting a payoff out. He just he just left it on mutual consent, wasn't it? I think that's what happened. I don't think it was because they didn't have the funds on others.
Aye. Newcastle haven't got the funds. They've got all this money and they can't even buy Magpies. Geordie Turnbull, you look lads. Hope you're both keeping well. And you, mate, and you.
Hello,
Johnny B.
Johnny B.
Can you tell Melly you've been on your holidays? I felt like I was on my holidays, Galen. Jesus, it was red hot. I'm expecting to see a photo of you and your 10 bucks doing there next week, mate. Rashford didn't play. Didn't play what? FA Cup. Oh, we'll cover the FA Cup actually before we're gone. I'll flick through these. Are you lads going away on Thursday night? Nah, we can't get European tickets, unfortunately. We did get offered some, I'm not going to lie, but apparently there's going to be tight rules on over there to show your ID, and your ticket must match the name on the ID, otherwise you just get turned away. And the lads could potentially lose their season tickets if they think that they've done that, so not going to bother risking it.
And it's a lot of risk, really, isn't it? There's no cheap way of getting there.
That's part of $1,000, isn't it? And then you get turned away at the gate. You'd be devastated, wouldn't you?
And lose your season tickets.
Aye. Oi, lad, says Ferry. Hello, Ferry, lad.
Hello, Fazza.
Morning, says Scurf. Good morning. Not like People's Park yesterday. Chelsea play Liverpool this weekend. Fazza's Mighty Mags. Oh, I must mention that Elton, well, is it juniors or seniors? But anyway, Elton Reserves played a final at Whitley Bay at the weekend against Walkergate. It went to extra time. Walkergate scored deep into extra time and they got beat 1-0, but it was a cracking effort. And they could have won it. This is a team that's beat Elton every time this season. But this time, honestly, it could have went either way. So well done, lads, anyway, on that. Osula's better than Wilson, says Billy Noble. Wilson is out of contract in the summer. That will be Man U's next signing. We're coming for Tonali, mate. Trust us. Cracking player, that Delap, says Martin Gallen. He'll go somewhere where he's going to play in only 33 games. We've more chance with us playing in Europe next season. He wouldn't want another relegation. That's it. I take Vardy as a third striker at Newcastle. He would get minutes, and let's be honest, he can still score goals, given some chances. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. You'll
offer more than Wilson, that's for sure.
100%. Wilson's going to go on Ashton, apparently. Adam should have been sent off for Bournemouth. He's a dirty twat. Melly, put your head forward. My tab needs a light. You're not got any eggs. If Fergie wasn't on VAR, you would have lost again. Give our. We absolutely battered them, mate. We should never have lost that game. Drew that game. We should have won it. Most successful club in England, Liverpool. Oh. Jordy, you're going to get banned. Sunburnt email. Look like you've been for the Mercury for a fortnight. Oh, I'm sunburned. That's bad crack about not going. Football is knackered. It is. Vardy to Wrexham, and they will make a film of his career. Now what?
It's not a bad one.
League, but that would be mint, wouldn't it?
It
would, like. Gary, we'll just quickly touch on the FA Cup before we look forward to this weekend's fixtures, right? So I forgot about that. So the FA Cup was played on Saturday, obviously. Crystal Palace were hosting Aston Villa. I think everybody probably had Aston Villa doing to win this, but it's been a bad week for Villa. They lost to City 2-1, and then they've gone into the semi-final doing in Wembley. And Crystal Palace have absolutely told them a new hole, haven't they?
Brilliant game plan. And they missed a penny now. I mean, they could have scored like 5 or 6 on the day. They were excellent. I thought Palace, like that Mateta, what a player he is.
Mateta?
What a player.
Now, what I said that yesterday when you tell us, Nagans, Palace were the same last year at the end of the season. Can you remember? Strong. They absolutely battered us, and then they battered a couple of teams afterward. And I thought if they can hang on to their players, they'll do well. And it's the same this season. They'll do well to keep Eze and Mateta, won't they?
If they lose them. And the midfielder and that Adam Wharton, I think he looks like a quality player, him.
Aye. Be like
He's
Wharton,
really,
didn't you? Because when you went
I
to
tell
what he
you,
carried with his family, weren't you?
he's really good. He's very, very good.
Aye, so SA scores, Mateta misses a penalty, Soar scores, Mateta assists him, and then Soar scores again in the 94th minute. And Ketia assists him 3-0. Palace in the FA Cup final. Mint, you just wanted the
It's good
next
to
day.
see, isn't it?
Excellent. Just like this one we're about to talk about, you wanted Forest to be in the final with them. Got Forest in the semi against Man City. R. Lewis scores after just 2 minutes. And then Gavardio rises like prime Ronaldo and makes it 2-0. So the final will be Crystal Palace against Man City. How can happen? Can't it? It's 90 minutes.
I didn't think Crystal Palace fear Man City in the cup final. I really didn't. I think they fancy themselves. Really do.
I hope so. Honestly, I really do. I hope they beat them. Not just because it's City, but because it's an underdog story. Isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Listen, we'll hit the adverts. 2 minutes, 42 seconds. Can grab yourselves a brew or a drink or whatever. We'll be back in 2:42. Cheers. Press the button. If you'd like to advertise with us like these following businesses have done, then get in touch with Melly or Gary. It's only $5 a show, and we're hitting on average, I would say, between 10 and 20,000 people per month. Support us, and we'll help support you. Melly's Carpets and Bed, 63 Station Road in Ashington. Free measures are available daily. You can call 01670 632216 or find us on Facebook. Melly's Carpets and Beds. Laying our reputation one recommendation at a time. BA Commercials and Northeast Metals Limited, where you can get almost any used car part. The best prices is paid here for scrap vehicles and metals. They have containers to rent short and long term from just £30 per week, as well as plant hire and also commercial buildings for rent. Call during working hours on 07825 405 772. GB Glazing and Joinery Limited, based in Ashington, Northumberland, but covering the whole of the Northeast. CERTAS approved, who specialise in windows, doors, warm roofs, kitchen, conversions, and conservatories. Call Gary during working hours on 07825 160 777. A1 Fire Stopping and Drilling Services, who specialise in installation and maintenance of passive fire protection, fire stopping, and thermal installation systems. You can email your query to Martin. That's at martin.gallen@a1firestop.co.uk, or call during working hours on 07751 429 045. A1 Fire Stopping Services. Ashington Properties, whose company mission is to create high-quality homes for the local community and Northumberland, and whose company values are transparency, trust, and loyalty. You can email them at ashingtonproperties@gmail.com or call during working hours on 07985 203 094. And last but not least, most cuts. You can call Lewis on 07519 07787. You can find him on Facebook, and you can also book through the Booksy app. You'll find them down in Newbiggin on Front Street, straight opposite Chisholm Bookmakers. Always look fresh when you get cut off Moz. Yes, and one more that I need to add on, but we didn't have time this week, is Lee's Handyman Services, who is now proudly sponsoring our show as well. Lee does moves, gardens, he does everything. His slogan is one call does it all, and he's right, because one call does do it all. Rubbish removed officially. You're not getting any letters off. You're not getting any letters off the council say you've been fly tipping. Everything's legit, and he isn't dear. He's not looking to become a millionaire off one job. So, yes, Lee's Handyman Services. Search him on Facebook. He'll be on the ads next week. Thanks for sponsoring, Lee. We really appreciate it.
Cheers, Lee.
Right, so let's move on quickly to. I'm just going to touch on the championship, Gary. Burnley and Leeds are promoted. They come to the Premier League. There's 2 North teams. Excellent for us. Nice little shorter ways. And in the playoffs, you've got Sheffield United on 89 points, Sunderland on 76, Bristol City on 67, and Coventry on 66. Millwall's on 66, Blackburn's on 65, just below them. Middlesbrough 64, and West Brom 61. There is, I believe, 2 games left to play, 1 game for some. So Middlesbrough could get up, Gary. Sunderland look like they're going to potentially play Bristol City at the minute. So I'm sure 3rd place 6th and 4th place 5th. Sunderland could be facing Bristol City. And then Sheffield United could be facing either Coventry, Millwall, Blackburn, or Middlesbrough. 60. Aye, they could. So potentially, Gary, we could have 3 like Northern teams back in the Premier League.
Teams back in the Premier League.
Aye. And basically, we're losing Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton, which is a bit of a gut I knew after we've because I'd fly there every single time, wouldn't you? It was class.
Brilliant.
But that's good for because Cockneys and that they all think that the North ends in Manchester, don't they? They forget about like the likes of Leeds, Burnley, Newcastle, and Middlesbrough. It's
good away Burnley, wasn't it? We enjoyed it. I'll definitely get on there next season. 100%. I'll definitely be there.
I'll never forget that little wife. It was like 3,000 Reds blasting her, totally blasting her, and she was just standing, giving it, wasn't she?
Oh, aye, it was mint.
Class, absolutely class. So yes, this week we've got on Tuesday the Champions League's back. Arsenal play PSG. How do you see that going, Gary?
Where's it at? Sorry, Arsenal's at home. Yeah. I can see Arsenal getting something out of that game. I'm going to take Arsenal to win that 1-0. I think it'll be a close game, but I think they'll pinch it at home.
I'm going to go for Nautic.
Right.
I'm going for Nautic. I think they'll both cancel each other out, and then PSG will have too much for them away from home. Although I hate Arsenal, and I've never hid the fact that I hate Arsenal, right? But you still want the British teams to win, don't you?
I don't know.
I just can't.
I didn't really want PSG to win it. Like, I didn't.
Who are all of them that's left? PSG probably for me, or Inter.
I'd rather Barcelona.
You want English clubs to de-wheel. You want them to de-wheel. I've just been realistic. I cannot see them getting past PSG. I just think they've been a unit this year, and they're hard to break, dude. They beat Liverpool. They beat Real Madrid. They beat Liverpool. Aye. Do you know what I mean? So,
well, they'll definitely done it the hard way.
We hit every team apart from Manchester United. You're not lying. Right. Wednesday, Champions League again. Barcelona against the Inter. How do you see that, Gan?
Barcelona win. I'm going to say 2-0.
I'm going to go 2-1. I think Inter will get a consolation. But I think I'm the same as you. I think Barcelona will win it. Thursday, the Premier League is on, first and foremost. Nottingham Forest against Brentford. How do you see that, Gan?
Forest need the win, don't they? And I think it's home. I'm going to say 2-1 to Forest. I think they'll get the win.
Yeah, I think I'll marry you on that, mate. The Europa League's obviously on Thursday. Tottenham are at home to Bodo Glimt. Do you think Tottenham's got it in them? Do you think they're a different team in Europe than what they are in the Premier League? Because they're struggling in the Premier League.
They are, and they have got in them. But I tell you what, I was quite impressed with that Bodo Glimt when we played against them. I didn't think they'll be an easy team to beat for Spurs, will they?
Yeah.
I really do. I think they were good. You obviously you thought the fans were in that as well, didn't you?
Excellent.
You touched on that when they were there. I think Spurs might maybe beat them at home, but I think I can see them getting a result away from home. But I'll get a draw, in fact.
I think Tottenham obviously got battered off Liverpool yesterday. They need to win this, and I think sometimes when there's too much pressure on Tottenham, they fold.
I could see that happening.
And I think Bodo Glimt will nick it 1-0. The other fixture, so whoever wins that's in the final. And whoever, well, obviously there's 2 legs. But
do you think their manager will see the season out?
Yeah.
Do you think he'll still be there next season?
If he wins this, yes. If he doesn't, no.
I think it's literally...
He's lost the relationship with the fans, mate.
Mm-hmm.
The fans hate him.
I just didn't think he seems to like bottle everything up, doesn't he? He just looks like he's like a pressure cooker just waiting to just explode.
And if you notice, I don't trust anybody that cannot look you in the eye when they're talking to you. And he looks down all the time. When he's giving his synopsis of games, he's constantly looking down. Like instead of like interacting with people and looking at them. I don't know. I cannot see. He doesn't go and clap the away fans anymore. I mean, when they're playing away from home, he sends the team and he doesn't go. I think that's a shit house trick. People are paying hundreds and hundreds of pounds, whether you like or you're not like, you should still be gone and thanking them for your support, because without them, you're nothing. So no, if he wins the Europa League, he might be given a chance. If he doesn't, he might not want to stay either, you know. He might think, you know what, this relationship's gone. I've won the Europa League. I'm away. And leave it at that.
You'll
not win the Europa League because there's a team remaining in the Europa League who will not get by anyway. And that's what we're going to hit on now. Atletico Bilbao are at home to the great Manchester United, 13 times Premier League winners. How do you see it going, Gary?
I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it'll be a tough game. But like I was saying to you yesterday, I know they've just lost their striker.
Just take him clean off.
I know they've still got some good players on the pitch and stuff, and there'll be a tough game across there. But I think we're just going to try and stay in it. I'm going to say 1-1 draw. Take it back to Old Trafford for the win.
Aye, I'm going to go 4-0 Man United.
Don't want to get carried away.
Yeah, I'm getting carried away. It's all day. No, honestly, Gary.
Island hat-trick.
I'm gonna go for 1-1. Bilbao's obviously got a little bit more to play for because the finals at their stadium, so they'll really, really, really want to win. And before this, when we were playing, oh Jesus, I've done that many games. When we were playing the quarterfinal, who would just beat? Leon, yeah. Oh, it's gone. Before that, I wasn't worried about Leon. I was more worried about Bilbao. I thought they would absolutely trounce Rangers, but they went up to Rangers, and Rangers had 10 men, and it was nails each. And then they just.
So is that giving you more optimism than what you did have before?
Yeah, because Rangers are poor, in my opinion.
Oh, we battered them, aye.
Aye, they're poor. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but I'll be happy bringing it a draw back to Old Trafford. That's for sure.
You just got to stay in the tie, haven't you? No, it's stupid.
Yeah. Aye.
That was stupid, and just use that 75,000 crowd when you come back. You've just got to give them something to cheer for. Like the last game, that was like one of the best. Like it's one of the experiences that kids will remember like for a long, long time, and that's what it's about. The need to create like them sort of atmospheres, but they've got to give you something to get that atmosphere. They've got to give you something to cheer about.
Definitely, 100%. I'm about what anybody says. I had a bit of argument with Blue Peter and Gallon, the client, the day about Old Trafford, and they're pulling Old Trafford doing, and everybody's jumping on the bandwagon, but Old Trafford is still absolutely amazing. And when it's like that, there's no better place in the world. I'm about how many flags you want to buy. Like, you cannot beat it. You cannot beat that. Man City are playing on Friday night. They're playing Wolves. How do you see that, Dan, mate?
Wolves is doing all right at the minute, like, but I think City, you've got to think that they've probably got a little bit too much. I think they've got Rodri and Haaland's back in training or something. That's massive for them. I would just keep him for next season now, though. That Rodri, didn't risk him. There's no point. Just get him fit. But I think City will have too much for them. I think 2-0 City.
I'm gonna go for a convincing 4-0 win. I think City get to that point in the of the season, and then now that they need to be in the Champions League next year. They'll obviously get the Europa League, even if they win the FA Cup. Am I right in saying that?
I think that's what it is.
So if they get the Europa League through the FA Cup, does that mean an extra space in the Premier League becomes available or not?
Does it not mean against to the other? So would it not be Palace?
Aye, could it?
Maybe, because obviously if they're in the Champions League, then European spots available. I don't know.
Right.
Potentially.
I don't know.
Someone on here might know.
In the comments. Because
It's too hard. They change it all the time. You never know whether you're coming or going. There's about 10 different trophies in Europe now, isn't there?
Aye. Saturday, Premier League kicks off. Aston Villa against Fulham. That'll be a good game. Villa's obviously fighting to get in the Champions League. Fulham's obviously fighting Villa to get that conference spot. So how do you see that, Gan?
Villa need the win. I do think they'll get it. I'm going to say 2-1 to Villa. I also read something before there. Apparently, Rashford's out for the season with a hamstring injury.
Is he? I thought he'd be in the season anyway.
Right, he may as well have. Aye.
He used to go to the finalists, says Billy Noble.
To what, the finalists?
Aye.
Aye, well, that's what I thought. I thought that as well, but I wouldn't.
But how? That can't be true, because Newcastle were going to get it if we didn't beat City. Last year, Newcastle didn't get the Europa League, even though they had qualified for it, because we beat City. If we didn't beat City, they wouldn't have given it us. Newcastle would have had it. Can you remember? We had to beat City to get the Europa League.
To get the Europa, and we're not Newcastle by getting it. So maybe the league place will take priority over a runner-up of the cup. So the only way that
one of them are in that place.
So basically, if Palace win, they're in Europe.
Oh, Billy's saying, but City were in the Champions League. That's confusing, isn't it?
It is.
I'm going to go for a 2-each draw with Villa and Fulham. What did he go for?
2-1 to Villa.
2-1 to Villa. Everton host Ipswich. Nothing game, really, isn't it?
No, but for the purpose of I'm going to say 1 out of Everton.
I'm going to go 3-1. Everton's been good, especially at home lately. Leicester, Southampton. Oh, Jesus.
A couple of poor fixtures there, isn't there? I think Southampton's probably a better side than what they are. They've got a couple of good, decent players. I'm going to say Southampton will win. 1-0.
You'll be saying, are you all right, Millie? I would like clarification on exactly how it works. Like, what did he go on there?
1-0 to Southampton.
1-0 to Southampton.
Against Leicester.
Southampton for a win.
Aye.
Go on, Gary.
They've got more chance than Leicester.
Go on, son. Yeah, I think it'll be 1-1 or something. I can't see anybody winning that. Jamie Bird's asking, what do you think of Willie Osila, lads? We touched on it before, mate. I think he should have had a lot more game time than what he's been getting, especially when you've been playing Wilson, because you're not going to keep Wilson at the end of the season, whereas Osila's a man for the future. And you should have been bending him in. And so, although he's done all right, he could have had a lot of more minutes under him. So that's me only. I think he'll be a good player for you for years to come. He kind of he gets it. He leaves everything on the pitch, and that's the kind of players you want, not these superstars who think they're bigger than the club. That's my opinion. What's yours, Gary?
No, I think there's definitely a player in there, and he scores with his head and his feet, like from what I've seen, which is good, which you want in a striker. But I mean, I would like to have thought when Isak was getting injured that he did get like a little bit more of a run the team or rotated it a bit more. Now give him 30 minutes, because there's been a few games where Newcastle's blew teams away in the first half, sort of thing. Get the 40, 50 minutes, and he still doesn't make them changes, like risking injuries. He could have given him like 30, 40 minutes a few times, I thought. But, he done the same with Tonali and that, didn't he? He didn't bring them straight into the team. He made him sit on the bench for practically a season, didn't he? So
that's Eddie Howe, isn't he? He's kind of predictable, isn't he? That's the only thing about him. So if you're playing against him, you kind of know when he's going to make his subs and who the subs are going to be even and who's coming off. You've got to mix it up, I think. Jamie Bird says 100%. He's been filming watching Wilson getting game time. It's just stupid. I know you've got to sell him, but you're not going to get big money for him anyway. He's always going to get out of a championship club unless the likes of Everton or West Ham or somebody that want him. So it's not going to be big money. So for the sake of what 10 million max that you're going to get, put that into the young'un, get him on, and you know, like he could have meant you that money that you would get for him if he came on and scored 2 or 3 every game. They're like, they'll lose, eh? You know what I mean? His price values has gone. So I mean, Leanne Barnes is on. My wife. Google says this. Usually, English football gets 3 other European spots: 2 in the Europa League, 1 in the UEFA Conference League. Europa League berths are handed to the FA Cup winners and the highest Premier League finisher who doesn't qualify for the Champions League.
So the Palace basically they need to win the FA Cup again in Europe. There we go. That's what we'll see.
I love Callum though. Got to get them through the leagues. Oh, got them through the leagues. Yeah. Just let him go for now, says Chris Dobie. Takes him off the wage bill. 100%, mate. If you're going to bring players in, then, you know, for Man United, like, and I keep changing, and I keep jumping, but to get Rashford, Casemiro, Anthony, all them off the wage bill, it's like a big sign in itself. Like the wage bill weekly at United, it's like, I think it's 6 or 7 million.
I'm sure someone told me that apparently Matty Target, obviously who doesn't really play at all, like for Newcastle, I'm sure someone told me he was on about 130 grand a week, you know.
What?
I'm sure they did.
Nah.
I mean, honestly, I'm sure.
Per week is Matty Target on. Nah, that can't be right. 100 grand a week?
I knew it was 100. The bloke doesn't even play ever.
100,000 pound a week.
Aye, it's mental, isn't it? I'm sure there was someone else. I might have been one of the ones. No, yeah, no, me as well. I just remember someone telling us about it. They were like, honestly,
the ideal sign for Man U or whatever you want. Honestly, we shouldn't laugh because it's the type of thing that we would do, isn't it? Very target 100. I will have him. But now that
I think he's on Wilson, though, is he?
100k a week, says Billy Noble, or 110 grand. He was one of the relegation signings. There's some ridiculous wages sitting on benches. Absolutely mental. I think there needs to be something put in place, doesn't there, where you can only earn so much, or like performance-based contracts. So if you play, then you know your wage gets built up, so to speak. That's the way to do it. Arsenal are hosting Bournemouth on Saturday at 5:30 kickoff.
It should be a canny game, but I think Arsenal will bring the changes and that. They'll have their eyes on the Champions League. So I think Bournemouth might get some in that game, you know. I'm going to say a 2-2.
They're a good team. They can play football.
They're not bad.
Aye. You going for a Desmond, are you?
Desmond.
I'll go for 2-1. 2-1 Arsenal. Dobie was actually on about Wilson.
Aye, I thought he was.
Aye, you know, like, nah. Jesus. We're not taking Newcastle's cast-offs. He can score goals. He can score goals. You just cannot stay fit. If you can stay fit, then he would be an asset to any team, really. How old is he? Wilson, do you not know?
I'm not sure. He's got to be in his 30s now, like.
Aye. I'll just have a quick look. Squad. Callum Wilson. 92. 33. He's finished and he's done. Gone to Leeds. That's where he'll go, Dobie. He'll go to Leeds.
Like Southampton. Is he from doing that way?
Aye, was he not at Bournemouth with all them lot?
Aye, that's what I mean. Like, maybe if Southampton, like, when I'm in the Championship, maybe it's their season there. Nice place, part of the world to live in, so probably got family in that doing that. Why not?
I'll tell you what it is, mate. Honestly, I'd move to Bournemouth tomorrow.
It's unreal, isn't it?
You don't realise how good this country is. If we could just get reforming.
Yeah.
Brentford again.
Everyone vote reform.
Brentford against Man United. You're obviously gone. I'm aware what the band's doing in Skegness on the tournament. Thank you very much to everybody who's played last man standing. You've made it happen where we've took all the kids. We've paid for the kids to go to Skegness, and it's this weekend that we're gone. So Gary's gone to Brentford with a young one. How do you see that gone, mate?
Obviously, we are in Europe as well, so it's probably not going to be our main priority. But I'm going to say 2-1 United.
Dobie's gone 2-0 to Brentford. No surprise there. I bet he doesn't put that in his Le Bomb, though. Brentford 5-0, says Billy Noble. I'm going to go for a 1-1. I think we're going to be draw specialists till the end of the season. I think we're playing all right, you know. We're not far off. We're not far off. I put in the group today. Kuna. We've got young Amas coming through. We'll get a striker. Who else did I put in the group?
Centre
midfielder. Honestly, we'll win the Champions League, the Premier League. We'll win it all. Brighton. Newcastle are away to Brighton. I hope he's a flying, dude. I hope they're flying. You would fly with you. Straight to Southampton. Train from Southampton to Brighton. Be home for 9 o'clock that night. Perfect. Absolutely. Because it's 2 o'clock kick off and now.
Brilliant forecast now, weather in it.
Aye. They'll not even began though, will they?
Nah, they'll not be there.
The 6-a-side group. They'll not even began. Dobie will say he's got walk. Gallon will say that he's taking his wife in the tent box. Blue Peter will say that he's got more to thingy than going to football matches, unless it's a final. Mick, he'll be in the new ship. Dave Armstrong will be laying a patio, won't they? It'll be
his
daughter or something. How do you see it, Gan? I think Brighton beat them. Me too now.
I'm gonna say 2-1 Brighton.
2-1 Brighton. Aye. All things bright and beautiful. West Ham against Spurs.
London derby. I'm gonna get 2-1 West Ham.
2-0, the mighty Mag, says Billy Noble. You're going what? 2-1 West Ham?
Aye,
I think so. 2-2, says Gary Skerfield. I'm shagging according to my lads, so I'm not going. My bomb is done already, says Chris Dobie. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh, I can't. You can't until the...
Can't see until the kicks off.
Bugger. I'm new to all the Premier League rules, as you know, but how can Newcastle not buy the league like all those who have done prior? Now they are the richest club in the world. What an excellent, excellent question. Well, that is, Michael, because you're a small club. You're tiny, right? So when you haven't got much revenue coming in, you can only spend so much percentage or times the revenue. So because you haven't got that much coming in, you have to go on for the likes of like Mark Gui or Anthony Elanga or people like that. Then you've got the problem of when other teams are in for these players, do they come up to Newcastle? Because the problem is people like to be in London or Manchester or, teams that are doing well, so to speak. So then you've got to have some kind of pull. And that's what I've always said about Newcastle. You need to have a manager who players want to come and play for, or you need to pay them stupid money, which means they're then gonna get Dyson with death. You know what I mean? Like, because money doesn't guarantee you success. Look at Man United of late. So you need to get some revenue, which is why that's happening with a new stadium with more people in and some kind of complex around it, which all generates money. So that's how the Premier League are working at the minute. Years ago, they got away with it because they were able to come in and buy all these top players and kind of get away with it to a certain extent. That they have loads of little loopholes, but as it's been happening, the Premier League's been closing the loopholes. People blame Man United and say that the corrupt six have got it tied up. The corrupt six.
They're trying to make it fair, aren't they?
They weren't always the corrupt six. City were never in the top six. They were in the bottom six a lot of the time. Chelsea, they've always been there or thereabouts, but they were never like a massive, massive club. And if you're on about Tottenham, Man United, and who else? Arsenal. Arsenal have never really, they're not massive spenders, are they?
No, they spend big money, but like, I mean, they'll get like a season or two season where they mightn't really do much, and then they'll make a decent signing. But they use the academy in that as well, very well, don't they? So,
and that's what I was saying. That's what I think. That's why, right? Mm-hmm. They need to start using their academy better, don't they?
Aye, $1,000,000 for the catchment area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You've got a massive area. I'm sure I've said this, but I'm going to say it again. The headmaster, Mr. Hodgson, Kevin, he runs the East North of Newcastle. So when East North come up the ranks and South North and North, he becomes 1 at 16. And they played a team from doing it Tranmere the other week. And every single player on that team was linked to a professional club. His team had 2 players linked to a professional club, just 2. And they absolutely battered them. Mm-hmm. So they've got a mint catchment area. Newcastle could be picking whoever they wanted. But the trouble is, it seems to be that they're picking all around. Aye. Like,
it's dad's mates and that. Dad's kids.
Probably got, what, six people on the books at the minute? Like Miley and Longstaff. And that should be absolutely brim, man.
I don't know if it's changed a bit, like, because apparently the under-21s and stuff this season and the youth teams have been doing a lot better for Newcastle. So maybe it's like they have changed stuff. You would think, like, coming in, like when the new owners and stuff, they'll have looked at all that sort of stuff and they'll be saying, well, look, we need to be using this youth academy and we want to see like a trail of players coming through. You've got
to do it. That's the only way you get the likes of the class of 92. Get the young'uns together, have a team, bring them up through the ranks, and then release them into the team. Look at Harry Amas and Fredrickson last week, mate.
Mm-hmm, done well.
They were absolutely unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Young Cheeto, come in. Although he wasn't in our youth rank, he's a young'un still. Mint. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Give them a chance, man. They've got these players coming in with 350 grand on their head. They've got a massive weight on their shoulders already.
And it doesn't guarantee anything. So back to what your Michael was saying is it's to try and make it fair, and it has, because if you look at the league table, it'll tell you that just about any team in that league can beat each other. Mm-hmm. And it can, and I think it's been a mint season, not like for us all together, but like it's been a much closer season, and that's what you want to see.
Billy's saying academy players don't count towards FFP, so NUFC are going to exploit that going forward. Good. I hope every single team in the Premier League do the same. That's what we need. The Club 6 have it tied up, Mick. The fake United pay players 4 times as much as NUFC can afford. That's not going to happen anymore, though. All right, chaps, says Tommy Broughton. All right, Tom, lad, I hope you're well. We've just sold the Gallagher toilets to the Saudis for 10 zillion. Sorted. Let's flick through these last couple of fixtures, Gary, before we head off, mate. So we've just done. Did we do West Ham and Tottenham?
Did I won 2-1
to West Ham?
No 2s each. No, I won 2-1.
Aye, I'm going to go 2-1 as well to West Ham. I just can't see Tottenham do no. They're not that interested. Good game on Sunday, though. At the end of the Premier League fixtures this weekend, which take into the last 2 weeks after this weekend, is Chelsea against Liverpool. How do you see that, Gan?
I'm gonna get a 1-1 draw.
I think Billy Noble's gone for 2-2. Desmond for
Spurs.
West Ham and Tottenham. Aye, but I'm gonna go for a 3-1 Chelsea win. Liverpool's got now to play for. Chelsea need to qualify for the Champions League. I just think Chelsea will beat them. Liverpool will not be asked, will they?
Probably not. Maybe it's not good. I don't know.
Training session. That's what it'll be.
Get some kids out.
Aye.
It's just it depends how much Chelsea put into the conference and stuff in it on the midweek here. So aye.
And then ending the Premier League this week, Gary, is on the Monday night, 8 o'clock kickoff. Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest. How do you say again?
It's a tough game that for Forest, like because Palace. I'm impressed with them this season. Like I think Palace might win that, and I'm going to say 2-1 Palace.
I'm going to go for a draw. I think they'll have root for a draw. Forest, they need to win the game on Thursday night against Brentford. Sure, at home. If they get 4 points with the next two, 4 points with the next two will put them on 64.
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle could potentially be on 65. City would be on 64. And Chelsea would be on 63. So 4 points. I think the manager will be looking at that and thinking, aye, like if we're going to beat Brentford and pull a point away from Palace the way they're playing, then that's a good weekend, isn't it, for them?
It is. You would take a point at Palace.
Billy Noble doesn't think so. He thinks it's going to be 3-1 to Liverpool, but he thinks Desmond on Monday night. Desmond 2-2 on Monday night.
I think it'll be a close game.
It will. You got out else you want to talk about before we'll leave?
No. I think we've covered everything there, haven't we?
Covered it all. Excellent.
Covered it all.
Well, that's it then. Thanks very much, everybody, for joining with the night. It's been good crack. Plenty of people commenting. Thanks if you liked and shared it. We'll see you next Monday.
It's bank holiday weekend next Monday, and it's a bank holiday Monday, and it so people might be doing stuff. We'll maybe just move it to the Tuesday or something like that.
Tuesday. See you next Tuesday, 7 to 7:30.
See you later, chaps.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah.